let us learn the basics of the console understanding. So after you log into the console, this is the front page, you get it. So of course this lists you the number of Amazon Web Services. So if you look at this is the compute. This is where you can see EC2 instances, container services, Elastic Beanstalk, Lambda, all. So we'll talk about that later one by one. So basically these are all the server and compute. These are all the storage and content delivery. Okay, and database, developer tools, and CloudWatch, blah blah, management tools, security related. So these are all some of the application related. So today we are going to work only on the EC2. EC2 means Elastic Compute Cloud. That's what EC2. So that's what we're gonna look today. So this cube, whenever you click the cube, you'll come back to the same page. So if you navigate to some other page, if you wanted to come back to the home page of the service, just click on this little orange cube on the left corner. And the same thing can be viewed through the services also. It's a different way of choosing the service. For example, compute, I can go the same thing in the different format actually. If you don't like the home page format, you can go the kind of listed format and get the detail also. And if you want, you can create your own resource groups, and these things we will see later. And this is my name, actually the account name what I logged in. And this is a region. So let's talk about this. It's very important. So Amazon has these many regions where the data center, basically the infrastructure uh, services offered from these regions. So the data centers are physically located in these regions. So for example, let's say today I'm from US. So let's say my nearest region is California. So I can host my servers. I can build my servers as US West, Northern California. So if you think you're launching from India, if all your customers mostly try to access your application from, let's say, India, then your nearest you can pick Singapore. That's Asia Pacific. So the latency will be less. Basically the idea is if you choose your nearest endpoint, the infrastructure location, when your customers trying to connect to the server, the latency will be very less. We don't want to host the server in US and all Indian customers, let's say trying to access your server. Of course it will be a little delay in the network because of the multiple hop by the time you come and connect to this one. So based on the location you can pick like Frankfurt or whatever, uh, Sydney, all those things. So these things are pretty much straightforward. And the last one is the support. If you wanted to open a support cases, you can of course open a support case, go to the support center, and you can create a case. Actually this my account is kind of a free tier account. Basically I don't have any. I can create a email cases. If you are a business, you can get a business support. I think you will pay like $100 per month, so that you can call or chat with an executive engineers to get the support. And Amazon got enterprise support also, so they'll assign you the TAM, technical account manager, so that it'll be a kind of single point of contact for any kind of communication solution, infrastructure solution planning and help and other stuff. So this is my, of course, my account number also. Let's go back to uh, the main page. So I hope you got this. So this is the simple way to uh, simple way that I can explain to you the high level of the console, how to read it. So let's go to EC2 instance. Today we're going to launch one EC2 Linux instance and then connect through SSH. That's what this video is for. So click on EC2. When you click on, you will get into this region. Let's say I wanted to launch my instance in Northern Virginia, US East region. So let me click on this region. So now my console changed to Northern Virginia. So far I don't have any instances, nothing. So we'll talk about all these topics one by one. So here the instances, uh, uh, you can launch an instances from just by clicking launch instance. Okay, so if you look at here, there are so many. Choose one. Step one is choose an Amazon machine image, AMI. These are all called AMI. What it means is basically the template or a kind of image already Amazon has on its infrastructure. You can simply select that and launch so that your OS will be ready. For example, this is Amazon Linux, and how to read is 2015 9/1, basically 2015 September 1. That's the release date. Let's say you are looking for a Red Hat RHCL 7. This is the latest RHCL 7, and this is SUSE Linux, of course Ubuntu. They offer Amazon offer multiple operating system flavors. So this is Amazon proprietary, pretty much like Red Hat Linux only. You don't find much difference. SUSE, Ubuntu, these four: Amazon Linux, Red Hat, SUSE, and Ubuntu. These four are Amazon provided AMI for Linux operating system. Still, if you go to the marketplace, there's a marketplace. You can still download CentOS and other few flavors also. Okay, and Amazon has got Windows also. If you are a Windows guy, you can launch any of the Windows flavor instances. So these are all different flavors. Let's go back. Let's launch one Amazon Linux 64-bit. Okay, select on this. The second one, choose the type. So okay, I chose my ISO image, basically the OS version, and let's say I'm going for Amazon Linux. That's my operating system. That's the first thing we always choose, right? When we build a server, we wanted to know what is the operating system needs to be installed. So that's the first step we have chosen. The second step is to choose the hardware. What kind of hardware I want to use. So for this demo purpose, I'm going to use T2 Micro. This is free tier. It comes with one virtual CPU, 1 GB memory, EBS volume. EBS means elastic block storage, and it's low to moderate network performance. For demonstration purpose, this is fine. So what is the other hardwares? If you look at here, if you basically we need more CPU, more memory, you can just go pick T2 small, T2 medium, M4. It keeps going like M series, C series, and G series. Basically high level is T1, I'm sorry, T1 was the old one, now T2, T2, M4, M3. These are all kind of mid-range. And C for C, anything with the C is mostly for compute optimized. You can see it here. It's all general purpose. This is compute optimized. And G, G2, G2 8 and G2 GPU, basically for graphical processing unit. If you wanted to build an application for graphical processing related, so this hardware is better choice. It can the CPU will support any kind of graphical processing applications in a better way, so you can pick that. Or if your application is really memory intensive applications like let's say databases or any Java based applications, um, so anything related to memory intensive, you can pick this R, uh, that's the R R series. Or your application is more like disk usage, like you are going to do more reads and more writes, it's like a batch processing, then you can pick like D series or I series. These two are it's better because you can see it comes with a lot of internal disk, um, so bigger sizes also. and better network throughput also, like 10 gig backend network cables. So this is a very this is an overview of types of instance. Anyhow, our video, this purpose of this video is to just launch an instance. Let's go back to our original. So I picked T2 micro. Now say review and launch. This is the one. If you don't want to choose any kind of configuration, you can simply say review and launch, but I am going to do configure instance detail so that we learn a little bit more. So let's say I wanted to launch 100 instances at a time or 10 instances at a time, then I can simply say 10, so that one time you populate all your configuration, so 10 instances will be parallelly launched, so we don't have to do one by one. So 10 instance for a similar type of application, you can simply do that. So anyhow, for a demo I just want to do one. And purchasing option, so we'll talk about this later. Now leave this open. There are multiple types of instances, we'll talk about this later. So network, by default your instance will be kept on one standard VPC. What is VPC? Virtual Private Cloud. It is like a VLAN. If you build a server, you create a network. So basically in Amazon we are not thrown in the common network. Whenever you launch an instance, it will create one dedicated virtual network for me, and displacing the instance. If you think, hey, I don't want to use the dedicated, this is, although it is dedicated, this is default system generated. If you wanted to create your own, you can create. The system generated comes with this IP range 172.31.0.0. What it means is my private IPs are going to be in this range. If you think you wanted to create your own virtual private cloud, you can create your own VPC, you can choose your own IP range. We'll talk about this. Here's the button. Now we'll use the default, okay, the subnet. So basically we talked about the regions, so many regions, right? In US East North Virginia itself, if you look at here, the subnet, there are 4 regions available. What it means is within the region, Amazon has got multiple data center in a different locations. All are interconnected with highly provisioned network, maybe a fiber or with a proper high availability and everything. So this is the kind of availability zones. So you can pick any availability zone. For a demo purpose, I'm choosing one availability zone, which is this one. Okay, US. You can pick anything. So what is the purpose of our availability zone? For example, I wanted to launch an application in Northern Virginia. At the same time, I don't want to launch all my 100 application servers on the same data center. So although it is in the same state or same region, I would like to spread across multiple different locations, so that in case of any problems with respect to technical or any kind of natural calamity issues or disasters, at least our data is spread across multiple availability zone. So we can very well can achieve the high availability. That's the idea. So now I am just launching one, so I don't want to bother about it. So I'm just choosing any one of the subnet availability zone. So auto assign public IP. Every time when you launch an instance, automatically one public IP will be assigned. If you don't want, you can disable it, but I wanted to use that because that's how we are going to connect it. So IAM role, we'll talk about this later, just leave it as it is. Shutdown behavior, yeah, when you shut down, it will be stopped. If you say it's terminate, whenever you shut down the instance, it will be terminated. Basically it will be completely wiped out. We don't want it. Why this is required? There are some application kind of, it will kind of auto launch and terminate based on on demand basis. So for that purpose you can choose, but for our case we don't need it. And enable terminate protection, if you enable this one, even if you accidentally terminate, it will not allow you to terminate. It will tell you, hey, it will warn you, hey, you enable termination protection, go and disable it, something like that. At least it will give you one more chance to rethink, to avoid any accidental deletions. So we'll see that after we launch the instance. We'll see more monitoring. If you want to, I would say if it's really critical, I would say enable against protect against accidental deletion. That's accidental termination. That's a good one. And monitoring, enable CloudWatch monitoring. Basically, additional charges apply, of course, but Amazon monitors, basic performance metrics like CPU usage and network in and out traffic use, traffic detail, and disk reads and writes, all those things. They charge, of course, the amount of data being feeding from this server to their monitoring systems, all those. But I don't want to. I don't want to monitor anything now because it's a demo. So I'm just uncheck it. If it's a critical application or production server, you may have to enable so that it will give you an idea, of how much your actual resource in use. We'll talk about it later. So tenancy, of course, we want this a cloud. We try to pick multi-tenant, basically shared hardware. What it means, back in the same hardware might be used for multiple virtual machines, virtual servers for different customers, but we don't have to worry. Amazon takes care of all kind of secured virtualization and all the stuff, so we don't have to worry. So you have an option to choose the dedicated also. Hey, it's our company norm. We don't want to be, we want to be secured. Although we are in a cloud, we want it to be in a dedicated our own server. We don't want any other clients to be part of sharing our resources. Then of course you can choose dedicated, but it's going to be additional charge. So I'm just choosing multi-tenant, and by default you will be assigned with one Ethernet. That's fine. It will be, because we chose auto assign IP, you'll get the auto assign IP, I mean automatic public IP. Once you launch, you will get it. Secondary IP, if you want, you can add it. We don't want it now. And pretty much we are done. So let's say additional detail, if you wanted to execute some text or file, those things, you can do that. We don't want to talk about this now. Let's go and add storage. Okay, by default, when you launch an instance, it comes with a root disk. It's XVDA, that's basically the device name. This can change depends upon the OS version and the hardware architecture, and we don't need to bother much. And default size is 8 GB. So if you think, hey, I wanted to run with one single disk, 8 GB may not be sufficient. My application later I will install on the same disk, so I wanted to increase like 20 GB, 50 GB, 100 GB, whatever the size you want, you can do it. But today it's a demo purpose, I'm just going for the default size 8 GB. Okay, this is the EBS volume basically. EBS means elastic block storage. It is like your SAN storage, SAN block device. Basically, you can move between any kind of instance. That's a flexibility. You can create whatever file system you want, and same way, the traditional way, however we use the SAN block disk, it's the same thing. You can use it. And advantage here is, in Amazon you will have an option to create a snapshot of this volume as a backup purpose. We'll see it later. So what are all the types of the disk? What the default type is general purpose SSD. What it means is you will get up to a maximum 3000 IOPS. What it means is, if you click here, baseline is 3 IOPS per GB. That's what you see in the balloon, 3 IOPS per GB. So today I chose 8 GB disk, so 3 multiplied by 8, so 24 IOPS. That's what I'm gonna get. What is IOPS? Input output per second, basically, in and out per second. How much data can be read or how much data can be write. That's what these numbers talks about. Okay, if you wanted to, if you say, hey, my application, I want more IOPS, 24 is not enough, so don't then pick for a provisioned IOP where you can set the IOPS. Hey, I want like 2000 IOPS. Okay, can say the 2000 IOPS, but there is additional charge. It's not a default charge. And you can also choose the magnetic, but nowadays for this type of uh, the instance what I chose, T1, it's not applicable, so I'll choose the general purpose. At the same time, you can add more volumes too if you want, hey, root disk, I don't want to mix with my application, let me keep it different. I wanted to add additional EBS, and it should be my 100 GB DBS, and later I will create file system, one general purpose or IOPS, whatever you want to choose. All you can do, it's like when you build a legacy way, traditionally when we build server, we add multiple disks. It's the same thing. One click, just add the disk and mention your tier, what tier storage you want. So usually we call tier 1, tier 2, right? So the same way, it's like general purpose or provisioned IOPS. That's pretty cool, right? So I'm just going for one disk. And then tag instance. What is tag instance? Basically every instance, we need a name. For example, this is demo Linux, so that's a name. You can say, hey, it's my production application server or web server, whatever you want, and that's a simple name tagging. So security group, what do you mean by configure security groups? So step 6. Security group, it is like a firewall. It's a set of firewall rules that controls the traffic of your instance. Usually Linux server by default comes with IP tables, right, which takes care of in and out of traffic at the operating system level. That is acting from inside the operating system. This is one step forward at the instance level. Before even you go inside the OS, this is the additional layer. Amazon gives you the kind of additional security layer where you can say who can connect, what protocol can use, all the stuff. For example, I can create my own security group. Let's say I never got one, so this is my first security group. I'm creating one, demo security group. Basically, this is the set of rule I'm going to have who can connect all, and I can say same thing. Probably the description can be same thing for Linux servers. Okay, because these, once you create the security group, you can repurpose it. Basically, you can reuse it for um, multiple instances. You can attach the same security group for many instances in later, so you don't have to create all the time. So by default, SSH, which is of course TCP port number 22. What this says is allow source anywhere. Basically what it says is, for my instance, anywhere 000, anybody can connect to my instance using the port number 22. That's the default rule. That's the default. It comes by default. I would say change that to my IP. So when you pick my IP, automatically it will pick your laptop IP. This is more secure. We don't want everybody in the world to connect to your server. Of course, we are not going to share our SSH key or password to them, but still, we don't want to have any kind of denial of service attack. So always choose my IP, so it's more secure. Or if hey, this is the IP my developer, you can give your developer IP also. If your developer says I'm always connecting from my VPN or my home, this is my public IP, so just give this developer IP. So, or you can add the rule. If 5 people are there, you can add 5 people's 5 persons, uh, 5 additional rule, and 5 different IPs you can add. So today for a demo, I'm just going to use my IP. So this is my IP. That's it. We are done. Review and launch. So whatever so far we configured, we chose the AMI. That's the Amazon Linux AMI. We chose the types of instance, T2 micro, which comes with 1 CPU, 1 GB memory, and 8 GB hard disk. We created our own security group, which allowed SSH port 22, and I allowed only my IP. And if you remember, we chose the default VPC. We chose availability zone, and one of the availability zone, I think D, and We said, monitoring we don't want, termination protection yes, all some of the things we chose that automatically as an IP address, all we chose, right? And we chose ETH0, and then storage we chose 8 GB, and general purpose, general GP2 means general purpose, and tag at the end we said, tag is demo Linux, right? That's it. We reviewed. Let's do launch. When you do launch, this is very important thing. So um, we are not going to use password, we are going to use SSH key pair. The key pair, it consists of public key that AWS stores and private key that you store. So together, using the public key and the private key, this authentication will be allowed. This is for Linux. So I'm going to create a new public key, new key pair. So I can say the key pair demo key. So download that. So it downloaded here. Okay, save it. This is my key. Okay, and then launch instance. There you go. So my instance is launched now. So how do I know my instance is launched? It says your instance are launching now. Go to view instance. You will see, things that are still working. So pending. This is the things it shows, it is in a pending state. This is the important one, instance ID, which is a dynamic. Whenever you launch, you will get one. And this is the name, tag name we gave. Of course, you can change anytime if you want, or you can leave it. So type of instance in Northern Virginia, the Northern Virginia region, we chose availability zone E. Now it is in a running state. Wonderful. And if you see, this is okay, this is my public DNS. You can move this. So these are three nice buttons. So if you do that, it will give more space here, like a medium space. We'll go to the top and give you more description. The down one is for description, or you can drag this also. So same thing, whatever you see high level, see with more detail. Basically your instance ID, what is the status, your private IP, VPC, everything. So this is the DNS public, this is your auto assigned public IP and DNS, and I'm gonna use my IP to connect. You can use even DNS name also. So key pair, remember that's a very important one. We are going to use the key pair to connect from our server. So okay, so it's my key pair. So now I have to go to my key pairs are downloaded under downloads. So it's my MacBook. So if I go here, there is a demo.key.txt. So let me move the file demo key to demo key.pem. I don't want .text, I just want pem. And then I'll also change ch mode 400. We want, it's very important because today if you look at the key, this key is read writable user, readable by others and group people also, right? Let's make it only for user, so it's more secure. This is important, otherwise you'll get a permission error. So it is mandatory, you have to change your key to readable format. So since it's a Mac or any Linux based server, you can directly use the SSH key with a .pem extension. As long as it is .pem PEM file, you can use it, not a problem. But if it is a Windows, you need to convert .pem as a PPK file. We'll see that later. So now I got a PEM file, right? Let me okay, I changed, it's read 00. Okay, so now let me connect to the server. Command is simple: SSH, mention the key pair, SSH-I, key pair. The default username is EC2 user. That's a default user created. So user 52.91.126.76. So here you go. I connected. So who am I? I'm an EC2 user. So I connected to this Amazon Linux image. It's my IP. If I look at DFFNH, I see it is 8 GB. Here you go. So I connected to my server. It's fine. So you can see memory 1 GB, and let's see, one processor, and everything looks good. So this from here, up to you to install whatever application you want. Test it. So I'm quitting. So this is your. So I connected to a good thing. One thing I would like to tell you is, when I connected using the public IP. But if you look at inside, it's a private IP. So this is what belongs to the VPC. So next video we'll talk more about VPC. What is VPC? How to create VPC? And how to manage this private IPs. Okay, so this is your private IP automatically assigned to your server now. Okay, that's it. So now you are a user with the EC2. EC2 user by default comes with the sudo privilege. Sudo to become a root, you can do sudo su, so you will be a root. Now you see it's a root ID, so you can do whatever you want. So you need 0. So I'm done. So that's it. So good. So now I'm gonna, okay, this is something I would like to do. I'd like to talk about some of things. Let's say my instance is launched, everything is done, right? So if you click on connect, this will give you the command SSH is the easy way. Instead of you grabbing from here the back side the description, and simply copy and paste it in your terminal, or you can use using the putty also. Okay, or let's say I wanted to stop. Let's talk about this area. We can say connect, basically this is the same thing, or you can say instance state. If you say stop, basically it will bring down the server, completely stop state, power off the server. If you say reboot, it will just power off and power on. If you say terminate, that's it, it is completely deleting the virtual machine. You never get, as long as if you have backup you can restore, otherwise no way you can get that back. So be sure before you click on terminate. And start, of course, if it is in a stop state you can start it, otherwise no. So these are 4 important state. One important thing I would like to tell you is, whenever you stop and start the instance in Amazon, your instance, basically instance is virtual machine, right? This will be technically migrated to the another physical server. Okay, so whenever it moves out of the server, 2 things will happen. If you use the public IP, the standard public IP, the IP will be changed. You will get the different IP. How to, let's say I want all the time, whenever I stop and start I want the same IP. There is a way, it's called elastic IP. We'll talk about this later. So the public IP will get changed. If you don't, elastic IP is the kind of static public IP. We'll talk about it later. But the thing is, whenever you stop and start, you will lose your IP if it is a standard public IP, and your instance will be moved to your instance ID will stay same, but technically backend your instance will be moved to the different hardware, different underlying host. You may not realize that, but just for the information purpose. It won't do any big changes for you, but just you need to know, you will be, that's how the architecture, I guess. So instance state. When you do reboot, you will stay on the same box. When you do stop and start, you will be moved to the different hardware. When you do reboot, you will be on the same. When you do terminate, of course everything is gone. Instance setting, yeah, here some of the things, you can, yeah, this is very important one. In instance setting, I don't want to talk about all. Let's talk about this one. Get system log. This is like a console log, or in the usually we get the console terminal in our server, right? That's the thing. But that thing is, you don't have any control over there. You cannot interrupt, or you cannot go to single user mode, or you cannot um, you cannot gain any control out of it. It is just the uh, read only output. In fact, it is not really live. There is a little delay, you know whatever is, but very useful. Let's say anytime your instance is not stopping, I mean it's not starting, stuck in some in between, you can go and have a look, and see what's going on, and call Amazon support. They'll help you further, but technically you cannot do anything. If it's stuck, you cannot do anything. You have to call them. You don't have any option. Or if you have any backup instance or anything, you can do. And yeah, image, this is very important. You can create an image. We'll talk about this later, next topic. It's a backup. Networking, few things you can do. Monitoring you can do. We all we'll talk about it in our next video details. Okay, so I think we are good now. I'm gonna terminate this, stop this instance, and then terminate this instance. I don't want this instance. See, look at here, this is grayed out. I couldn't terminate. The reason is I checked on termination protection. Because of that, when I do instance state terminate, it's not allowing me to terminate. So that's good, right? So now I need to go instance setting, change termination protection, and say disable, then come back and then do terminate. So now I know what I'm doing. So there is no chance for accidental deletion. So now I know clearly I'm terminating. I'm not going to get this instance back. That's it. Okay. So if you can refresh the browser here, this is a good one, cool one. So now it says terminated. This will go away from your console probably after hours, couple of hours, it will disappear. But this is the instance gone. That's it. And that's it for the class. We'll see you in the next class, a little bit more detail about the volumes, VPCs and other stuff. Bye bye.